And Republican presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann now joins us from Manchester, New Hampshire. Great to have you with us, Representative Bachmann. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Rebecca.
Now, over the weekend, you told Bob Schieffer on Face the Nation, you talked about the debt ceiling, and you said you would vote no on it. Now this week, you have Senator Mitch McConnell meeting with President Obama to try and work out some sort of consensus. If the rank-and-file Republicans at this point in time were able to come to some sort of agreement with the president, would you change your mind on that? Would you vote yes?
Well, it depends, of course, what that agreement would be. I've been in Washington, D.C. now for some time, and I've seen a lot of deals that sound good, but when the smoke clears, they turn out to be a bad deal for the American people. And that's why I cannot vote to raise the debt ceiling right now. Until I see a legitimate, serious reduction in spending, I can't give my vote, because we need to remember this would be $2.4 trillion added to the debt. And we'll be right back at it again a year and a half from now in a worse position than we are today.
The reality in the situation is at the same time, though, that we have $500 billion in debt maturing in this country in the month of August. And analysts across the board say that if we don't come to some sort of consensus, if we don't deal with our past at this point in time, we will default on our debt, and it will send shockwaves and a horrible ripple effect, not only through the United States, our economy, our stock market, but through world markets.
Well, and of course, we don't have to do that at all, do we? Because the interest on the debt can easily be paid for, and that would mean that we wouldn't default. Then we would continue the full faith and credit of the United States, which we must do. I think these are scare tactics by the Obama administration, because clearly this is the Obama debt, this is the Obama deficit, and this is the very poor working Obama economy. Remember, President Obama said in February of 2009, if he wasn't able to turn the economy around by the third year of his presidency, that he should only be entitled to one term in office. I think the American people agree with that. That's why we've had so many people flocking to my website, michellebachmann.com. We've just launched that for my presidential campaign. People are signing up on Facebook and Twitter because they want a president, Rebecca, that knows how to actually turn the economy around, get us on the right track, and focus on job creation.
Speaking of that,
I'm a former federal tax lawyer and job creator.
You've been very much against an opponent of stimulus, but the state of Minnesota has benefited from some stimulus. You've actually gone out and requested it, in particular for the agriculture industry. Is there a place for stimulus, given that it's helped your own state?
Well, actually, we spent $1 trillion in money that we didn't have. We had to borrow that money, $1 trillion, and what we know now is that as a result of that spending, we are worse off than we were before. So stimulus did not create jobs. Stimulus has actually led to the reduction in jobs. We've lost millions of jobs. President Obama said if we spent $1 trillion that we didn't have, that we have to pay back, that we'd create 4 million jobs, and it didn't happen. Clearly, the president has failed the American people on the economy, and what's worse, we have millions of people now that are suffering, that aren't in jobs that can afford to feed their families, and they're also facing foreclosures. So we need to have a president, again, who understands job creation. My husband and I have started a successful small business. We get it.
On that
know
topic,
how it works. And that's what I want to bring.
We reached out to the Twitter and Facebook community to ask them for questions to you. And like you discussed, jobs are top of mind for many people. This question comes from Chris Stevens, who asked us on Facebook, please describe your plans and proposals for job creation in the United States.
Sure, I'll be happy to. That's a great question, Chris. First of all, what we need to do is have the federal government stop spending so much money, because the more money that the federal government spends, they get it out of your pocket, Chris. That's the only place the government has to go. They don't have a money tree that they can shake. They have to reach into your pocket. So government needs to spend less so you can keep more. Number two, I'm a federal tax lawyer. The United States has one of the highest tax rates on doing business in this country. We need to lower that rate so that the United States becomes a positive climate to create jobs. Number three, We have a $1.7 trillion burden on job creators in the form of regulations. We need to go into and re-examine all the regulations that aren't working anymore, that are actually causing more problems than creating help. And I think if we start with those three sets, that will put us on a path to job growth.
We'll have to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann.
Thank you, Rebecca.